hours later.
What's up guys, how y'all doing? Cosmic Carry here, bringing you another World of Tanks video, and today I shall be conducting a review of the T25-2, the Tier 7 American TD, leading to the E4? E4? Yeah, the E4. Leading to the E4. And what to say about this tank? It was, I mean, we're 50k XP into this thing, and we're about to unlock the T28 prototype, and I have to say I was very challenged, shall we say, when I played in this tank. And the tank previous to this was the Hellcat, and I unlocked the Hellcat yonks ago. And if I was currently, you know, in the process, if I had just finished grinding the Hellcat and unlocked this tank, I would most definitely, you know, feel shortchanged, because the gun improvements on this tank compared to the gun on the Hellcat are minuscule. You know, you get a jumping pen of 10 points, 10 whatever it is, and that's it. You know, that's about it. You know, you lose accuracy. Everything else is pretty much the same. So you've jumped up a tier, and you know, hardly anything has happened. And the pen on this gun, you know, is 170, and at tier 7, the TDs, the average pen is around 190. So, you know, that's considerably low. And in fact, this is, you know, the lowest pen basically of any of the TDs at tier 7, apart from the E25. But the E25 gets preferential matchmaking, so that's, you know, but non-premium tanks, this is the lowest pen of any TD at tier 7, you know, T25 too. And you really do have to kind of go back to the drawing board with kind of learning how to play a TD when you're in this tank. You can't get lit up first and foremost, due to the fact, you know, you have hardly any hit points and you have hardly any armor, and you're quite tall. You're very tall. It does have speed on its side, so you can kind of relocate, pull back when you need to, and etc, and place yourself in certain advantageous positions across the map, you know, in order to take pot shots, etc. And the acceleration is there, absolutely, but the turret rotation is absolutely atrocious. And I remember one game where my turret ring was damaged and it was just barely moving. But you're a very fragile tank. You're a very tall tank. You have hardly any armor. You have hardly any hit points. You have the worst pen out of all the TDs at tier 7. So you really need to go back to the drawing board when it comes to learning about how to place your tank in advantageous positions, taking advantage of your teammates as they light up the reds, and also learning where to shoot, you know, because when you are bottom tier, you're in a world of hurt. You're in a whole load of trouble basically if you don't know where to shoot, the weak points, etc, and keep in mind, you know, the accuracy isn't that fantastic as well. But hopefully, you know, a lot of times when I'm not lit up and I'm in a TD, it's fine, because usually the reds will expose their flanks to me, and it's pretty easy to hit the side of a turret or the side of a tank. It's, you know, not that much of an issue. So let's take a look at the packages. And you know, this isn't that much of a buff, like I said, compared to the Hellcat at, you know, at tier 6. Pen 170, damage 240, aim time is really decent, 1.7. accuracy is a bit of a letdown, 0.36. and with the aim time, what I found, you know, that is really decent aim time. What I was able to do with combined with the speed and the aim time of this tank, I was able to pop in and out of cover and take pot shots at the enemy and without receiving any damage. You know, I would do this quite often. You know, if I was on a one-on-one brawling with another tank and he was on the other side of you know, a boulder or something like that, and it would work. I would 100%, you know, make it work. And with the rate of fire, which was pretty quick, I'd take them out. You know, I'd win the battle, kind of thing. As you can see, you know, my crew, they're not there. I have yet to lock Sixth Sense. This is a, you know, 100% brand new crew. Equipment wise, most definitely, you know, the traditional TD stuff, camo net, binocs, and I would go for gun rammer. Toolbox is, you know, if somebody's going to be tracking you, you're dead. You know, you don't really need toolbox. It's kind of a waste. If somebody's able to track you, you're going to be dead in 2 seconds anyway. I would go for the gun rammer. Anyhow, let's get into it. Let's check out some gameplay. So, hey ho, let's go. First things first, I want to kind of demonstrate some of the positives and the negatives of this tank. And here I'm going to demonstrate some of the positives, which is really good acceleration, decent speed, and the aim time. You know, combination of these 3 factors enables me to engage these targets here and be somewhat successful, keeping in mind that I'm in a TD, you know, low amount of hit points, not that great pen, and weakly armored, but I'm using, because I mentioned this before, I'm using the positives of my tank to gain the upper hand on these opponents. Keep in mind, I don't have Sixth Sense. I mentioned this before. I don't have Sixth Sense, and truth be told, if I did have Sixth Sense, I think I would be playing more cautiously, you know, because Sixth Sense will be going off right now, and I'll be ducking behind cover. But I saw, you know, this little opportunity, and I kind of went for it. This was literally one of my first games. I was kind of testing out the tank, and I realized, you know, this is really decent tank for popping in and out of cover. And keep in mind, I'm engaging a T69, an autoloader. Granted, he doesn't have that great pen. He has one of the lowest pens of the mediums at tier 8, but still, I mean, it's an autoloader. It's a T69, absolutely. And here, what comes into play here is the tallness of my tank and the low profile of the AT-15. You know, I'm taking advantage of the fact that, you know, my tank is tall and I can get shots on target. Granted, I'm not penning every single time, but still. But he can't shoot at me, you know. He can't shoot at me, you know. So that's kind of sort of another positive of this tank. He's forced to come forward, engage me at a shorter distance, which improves my accuracy, so to speak. You know, it improves my accuracy. And again, you know, I'm popping in and out of cover, trying not to be foolish, but at the same time, like I said, you know, I don't have Sixth Sense. I don't know when it's going off and going on, so to speak. And you know, if I did have it, most probably I'll be playing a little bit more cautious, but taking advantage of these enemies. They're trying to get at me, but you know, I'm just taking advantage of my quick aim time, my quick speed, and I'm looking at the mini map. As soon as, you know, they're kind of, I notice that they're engaging my compadres, I take advantage of that and I sneak some quick shots in. You know, they T69, pop in and out of cover. You know, it's very fast tank for this. This is 100%, you know, not an ideal scenario for this tank. Absolutely, 100%. But on quite a few occasions, I did end up using these kind of techniques in this tank. Absolutely, finally get to take him out. Decide to roll around behind the AT-15. You know, I don't want to be tracked or anything like that. I literally don't have any skills or perks on this tank, so you know, I don't want to be caught out by the quick firing gun of the AT-15. Attempt to help out this medium behind me, is scoot up to the AT-15, and I've got it. You know, there's nothing he can do now. You know, my reload is really decent. You know, my only worry right now would be his the other reds and artillery if it was in play, but I've got it. You know, no problema. So this little sequence pretty successful in my opinion, you know. And this is me compensating for the fact that I have a slow rotating turret. This is how you know, I found myself doing this on quite a few occasions, which is kind of pre-aim, you know, to where you want your turret to be, and it kind of moves into place gradually, very slowly, but you have to move it well ahead of time, and I get that nice drive-by shot on that tank. So it's very, very slow rotating turret. It is absolutely 100%. So you have to compensate for that. I think, truth be told, you know, in the review at the beginning stages of this video, I was very harsh. I was kind of pointing out so many negatives when it came to this tank, and you know, pen. I spoke about pen, how it's just so low, and but when it comes to TDs, I've mentioned this on a number of occasions, you can always work with low pen when it comes to TDs. You know, you can 100% always work with low pen, because you're a TD, you hang in the back, you stay in the back, you take pot shots, you're not lit up, and low pen really doesn't come into play, you know. And that's initially what I was aiming for right here, you know. These were literally the first games, these and the previous two games that you saw, the previous two clips, they were the beginning first handful of games that I had in my T25 2-2, and absolutely respect the Nashorn up ahead, but you know, he's pulling back, fully anticipating for there to be bad guys up here, and there we go. And you'll see in this game as well, this is, you know, low pen doesn't come into play. If they can't see me, they can't see me. Who cares about low pen? But in this game as well, you're going to see that whole popping in and out of cover, quick aim time, you know, quick acceleration of this tank. You'll see that come into play as well. And I noticed that straight away from the get-go with this tank. It's very quick, it's very nimble, you know, you can get into advantageous positions really, really fast. But it just, it doesn't have any armor, and it doesn't, you know, not too fantastic when it comes to hit points and slow turret rotation. So, gentlemen, they're highlighting the hill, and I absolutely, you know, haven't got it covered, but I'm keeping an eye on the hill. Absolutely, whole bunch of bad guys up here. It's the beginning stages of the game. Requesting fire, trying to assist. I mean, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Is, you know, I'm a TD, I'm staying in the back, I'm holding back. But at the same time, you know, there's more to this tank than just a TD. And I'm fully expecting, you know, to get lit up now. You know, very close to the Tiger, but he is behind those bushes. Fully expecting a bounce there. Don't want this TD to die. I want to assist him. If he dies, who's going to light them up? Always with TDs, you're looking out for scouts, you're looking out for mediums up ahead of you to light up the targets. You know, that's how TDs work. You don't want to be lighting up the targets by yourself unless you're an E25 and they can't see you. And this little sequence, it's kind of a mirror image of, you know, what happened in the first battle. It's just me popping in and out of cover and taking advantage of the quick aim time of the 90mm on this gun, which is 1.7, and it's like I said before, it's they just don't have a chance to respond due to the fact, you know, the quickness of my tank and the quickness of my aim time. You know, they just don't have a chance to respond, and you know, it's penetration doesn't come into play. Rheinmetall Borsig, pretty weakly armored, and also the other tanks I seem to engage, they all end up showing me their flank, and I can penetrate those any day of the week with, you know, any kind of penetration. So but of course, you know, IS angled, a few bounces here and there, etc, etc. But you know, I'm facing a Russian heavy here. His aim time, his accuracy comes into play. Mine, much better. You know, this is a kind of one-on-one, my gun versus his gun, and you know, my gun will prevail, so to speak, and possibly maybe his alpha is higher than mine. And again, you know, like I said, side shots, no problema. You know, 170 pen doesn't really come into play. It's not really an issue. But keep in mind, this is a Soviet heavy, and he's hiding from me, a weakly armored T7 TD, you know, with a puny gun, in my personal opinion. But a lot of shtick, a lot of you know, negativity comes with this tank due to the fact that it comes straight after the Hellcat, and it gets compared to the Hellcat. Every single review that I saw, it was being non-stop compared to the Hellcat, you know, because the Hellcat was a tank previous to this, and the Hellcat is so endearing to so many people. A lot of people consider it, you know, their favorite tank, etc, etc. But as a tank on its own, when you don't compare it to the Hellcat, it's a pretty decent machine. You know, I had 30-40 odd games in this tank, and I ended up with, I think, between 60 and 65% win rate, and you know, that's not that many games, and I'm not planning on keeping the thing. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I didn't like the tank. It's just, truth be told, I need space in my garage. That's all. But I enjoyed playing in this tank. Always looked forward to playing in this tank. Absolutely, 100%. And I liked it, you know, and I think that's basically down to the fact that or due to the fact that I haven't recently played the Hellcat. I played the Hellcat just to play the Hellcat, and that was months ago. And I moved the crew across to, I think it was the E3 line, I think, I'm not sure. And then the Hellcat sat in my garage, and ever since then it's just been collecting dust. And because of the fact, you know, I haven't played the Hellcat last week, you know, I'm not comparing it to this tank, and I'm not as disappointed as a regular player would be if he was grinding through this line. You know, I've only just started the grind on this line, truth be told, so I have a kind of a different outlook on this line, and a different outlook on this tank. You know, if I had played the Hellcat recently and only just unlocked this tank, yeah, maybe I would, you know, it would sour my opinion of this tank. But I liked it, you know. Whoa, nice jump there. And then we're going to demonstrate the biggest weakness of the ELC AMX, which is, of course, you know, the drivers, the people who pilot the things. But the biggest weakness of these scouts is the cockiness, is the ballsiness. Look, you know, watch him. You see him coming around the side, going, well, hey, you know, I'm too fast, etc, etc. Look, I remember watching him going, he's still alive, he's still alive, seriously, he's still alive. Oh, he's actually right behind me. And I seriously thought for a second, you know, maybe my low rotation speed of my turret was going to come into play. You know, there you go. That's their biggest flaw, the biggest weakness, is that they're way too cocky sometimes, way too ballsy. And sometimes, you know, if you need the job done, you got to do it yourself. All that good stuff. Well, we're on Standard River, we're on Sand River playing Standard Battle, and I'm a TD. I'm going to hold back and push forward only when I need to push forward, absolutely. And in the meantime, I'm going to protect the base. I don't have Sixth Sense, and just take opportunistic pot shots. In this game, the accuracy is going to come into play. It's going to, this gameplay, I would say, you know, the demonstration of the accuracy of this tank, which is 50-50 in my opinion. You know, it's neither here nor there. You know, it's not the greatest accuracy, but it's I enjoyed the gun. You know, I enjoyed the gun. Just to refresh everybody's memory, it's 170 pen, which is absolutely atrocious. 240 damage, 0.36 accuracy. So Mr. KB2 getting in my way. Want to pen the Tiger. There we go. Nice even 240 damage there. Side shot, possibly, maybe. There we go. 206. Low roll. Again. Oh. And there we go. Take him out. Pretty fast reload. Pretty fast. Already 2 kills. 7 pens. So we're doing a healthy amount of work here. Adding the distance. T25. Can I do this? It's always tricky, the turret of the T25. It's got that sloping. Load some premium. Can we possibly maybe get the kill? Maybe. It should be. Nah, it's taken out. What can I say? Off in the distance, what do we see? AMX. And keep in mind, you know, I still don't have that sixth sense. I'm almost there. Get a nice shot into the blind there. Wasn't expecting that at all. Possibly maybe another one. Yeah, they're just lining up. We need more tanks, please. Send them my way. For my 90 mil. Taking care of business. Fella KV2 went down. What can I say? Lost just under 50% of my hit points. It's time to push forward. Leading 10-5. We got this game in the bag, absolutely. Going to be pushing up here to the ridge, pushing slowly, surely, and confidently towards the reds. Some side shots, possibly, maybe. Nah, it's always a tough one. T25. Lose that detection. Let's try again. Tiger as well, off into the distance. Will I get lucky? No, it's not going to happen. And there we go, finally. Took 4 shots. With premium, I might add. He's tracked. Yep, nice. Nice. Picking up some decent damage in this game, absolutely. Not a bad game. Pretty good game. Decent gun, decent tank. Just over 2k damage. So I hope you guys enjoyed my review of the T25 to Tier 7 American TD. In my personal opinion, it's a good, solid tank all-rounder. Nothing wrong with it. If you compare this tank to the Hellcat, which I'm sure you will do, for the most part, people look at these reviews because they're grinding, and this is the next tank in line, etc., etc. And me personally, when I looked at this tank, I hadn't just finished grinding the Hellcat. The Hellcat was a distant memory. I still have it in my garage. It's a keeper, 100%. But so I looked at this tank with open eyes. You know, they weren't judgmental eyes. I didn't just finish grinding the Hellcat. If you compare this tank to the Hellcat, 100% it falls flat on its face. But as a tank on its own, and possibly maybe, you know, this is where people kind of get things wrong when they judge a tank, when they evaluate a tank, when they review a tank for themselves. Is you should look at the tank on its own merits, you know, and it's quick, it's fast, it's got a really decent gun, quick aim time, decent reload. What's there not to like, truth be told, you know? Okay, slow turret rotation, armor, etc., etc. But, you know, there's worse things that could be on a tank, so to speak. But for me, it was a great all-rounder. I always look forward to grinding the thing. I'm just about done with this tank, and I hope you guys will enjoy it too. Absolutely. Take it easy, guys. Adios, muchachos.